Good afternoon, YouTube. I felt compelled to make this video because there's something seriously wrong that's happening in the United States that requires an address, I'd say from me personally, because I couldn't stand how silly it actually was. Um, Undoubtedly, many of you know that the Trump impeachment by now, if you've even watched a little bit of the trials, was a extreme move by the Democrats in Congress to attempt a coup d'etat to topple the president that got elected legally. Adam Schiff was the catalyst, you could say, the initiator of a sequence of events that led to this moment. I personally think that Schiff himself invented the whistleblower. He himself is the whistleblower, because what we will see in subsequent days, is what I hope anyway, is that the entire thing was in fact fabricated, and there's no way to hide it. With time, the truth will come out. The problem is, under Obama, and this is my theory, so I hypothesize, under Obama, the power of money and corruption entered the United States. There was a deep sentiment of anti-Americanism and self-loathing and hatred in that country, but division, the seeds of division, which were planted during the Obama reign and maybe even before that, but amplified under Obama, and that sentiment grew and grew and grew until the necessity of Trump came. People are so sick and tired of being out of work, without money, without to get food stamps and so on. You have no idea. I was there. They were desperate in the States. There's such a depressing sentiment to be American. No pride, like people without hope kind of idea. A great nation like the States. The problem was, and Trump had the solution, get people back to work. Give them jobs, give them purpose again, give them hope again. So, as soon as he was elected, the Democrats, and anybody will tell you, the Democrats already slated Hillary Clinton to win by a landslide. I don't care what they were talking about during the investigation with the Russian interference. There was no interference as far as I'm concerned, even if there was, because it didn't matter. Hillary Clinton didn't win because she didn't deserve to win. If you look at how Trump went about the election, defeating the primaries and so on, and going on with the debates, it's hard not to like him, to feel the attraction, because Trump is not a young man. Trump is old. He's seen it. He was there during the Reagan years. He's there to see the country sort of drift into chaos, and he remembers the real history of America back when, probably in his youth, he still remembers the greatness of America, and he's seen it slide down slowly, and you can actually see articles of him. They're asking him if he wants to be president. He said, I won't apply for presidency unless things get really bad. I think it's a quote, but it's indirectly. So when I look at this impeachment process, this is a coup d'etat by the Democrat Party. Nothing more than a partisan swipe for power, trying to topple somebody who has been legally elected. And what I'm thinking is that the more the Democrats pursue this nonsense, the more they keep trying to reinforce the idea that Trump is guilty without being guilty. What I hope is that they internally restructure, that they get fresh blood in that party, that they get rid of Pelosi, of Schiff, and many other corrupt Democrats that are voting with them but are afraid to vote against them. At a certain point, it becomes an outright lie. It's clear that it's a lie, and Trump doesn't have to do anything because his lawyers, his team of lawyers, they didn't even have to make it complex to defend Trump. They just have to go, here's the law. Trump didn't break any crimes. Very concisely, according to what the legislation, the Constitution, and our laws state, Trump didn't commit any crimes. That's it. And if you watch the trials, and I watched a lot of it, Schiff appeals to something that's illogical, that's irrational, like he's mentally sick. He keeps talking about having a fair trial. What do you think they're doing in the Senate for? The Senate, as far as I could see, in every way is completely impartial, except for Mitt Romney and Collins. But, they were, you couldn't ask for a more unbiased trial. It was beautiful. It's perfect. You just look at it, you see, okay, the constitutional process is very, very meticulous. And if there is a discrepancy to be found, mark my words, it'll be found. And I think, it might be just me, but when I was looking at Schiff during the trial, he seemed to be getting a little bit defensive. He seemed to be acting out of place. There was even a part where, what's his name? I keep thinking, it's one of his, one of the judges for the committees. So the gentleman stood up and to address the Senate, and Schiff actually tried to pull him back. It was hilarious. He's like trying to prevent this guy's testimony. Schiff is acting out of emotional and irrational behavior. That's why I say he's mentally sick. He doesn't have anything. And when he tries to make his case, it's almost like he's just talking to fill the words with air, like the air with words. It's useless talk. There's nothing about his case that has any credibility whatsoever. He keeps talking about defending rights, defending the Constitution, defending this, defending some kind of hypothetical idea or ideals that he himself is breaking. Schiff is the ultimate expression of hypocrisy and poor judgment. Like he's not even thinking about any factual evidence, but rather he tried to attack the president any way he can, delay the trial any way he can, extend this thing to create as much negative publicity and make nonsense and stories up in front of the Senate. I am sure the senators, most of them will look at that and they'll see right through it. It's obvious. Anybody who's got law training or anything knows that's there's no grounds for impeachment, let alone what kind of nonsense they're accusing Trump of. They have overwhelming evidence to the contrary. It's done. So I look at this and I feel very much a pity for the U.S. because Trump cannot conduct his affairs nice and neat or even rule properly if he keeps being burdened by all these stupid trials and so-called allegations. When you look at the assault that's made, impeachment is their only hope. Democrats, they don't see anything else. They don't try to make an effort to push the candidates so that the election will be favorable. No, they know that they've already lost. And if they win I'll be shocked by a result like that. People know Trump made America great again, like the slogan said. He kept his word. That's the most important thing. And anything else is lying, really. So I feel bad because like here in Canada we have Trudeau, and Trudeau has already broken many laws. Like if there was an inquiry made by an unbiased, nonpartisan organization with a proper judge and jury, Trudeau would definitely have to serve some kind of criminal sentence because of what he did to Jody Wilson-Raybould, what he did with SNC. Those are literally crimes that there are evidence on the web that you can actually look at it. And if you had a judge, it should be worthy of criminal prosecution. What about giving $10.5 million to a known terrorist? How about, there are so many crimes. And yet, here in Canada, we have no way to hold the Prime Minister accountable. That was a hole in our Constitution. The only thing we have is the elections, and really, it's so sad. I'm looking at here, like, Trump is innocent. He is innocent. There's no denying it. It's clear. He's innocent. He was elected. He's done his job as best and as well as he can, better than any normal human being. I think anything that he's done is, a lot of times people thought it was impossible. I tell you, like, I've lived through the times under George Bush and Obama. Like, these people talk about hypothetical success, but if you actually look at their track record, they did absolutely squat. It's a joke. But with Trump is renegotiating stuff with the Chinese, how many billions he's getting in payments from China, the tariffs that he put on, it's how he negotiates deals is the optimal way to get the lion's share of money for the U.S. Like, no president in history since Reagan actually had that kind of love. But it's deeper than that. It's like that kind of responsibility for and caring for his own people. That's what I want to get at. And I look at the media narratives and I just get angry because it's like, how can they be so blind to what this man has achieved so far with all of the encumbrances that he's got? It's incredible. Stephen Harper, when he was in power here in Canada, nobody gives him credit for how he negotiated free trade with Europe. All over Europe in the newspapers, I had to get it from that source. I had to go to Europe to see the greatness of the free trade agreement that Stephen Harper. They love Stephen Harper in Europe or anywhere else that he's had business relationships for Canada. And yet the CBC, the press here in Canada, they may put out like a 10-second clip. Oh, Stephen Harper did this. It's forgettable. They never give him the credit he deserved. And when it came right down to it, Trudeau came in and essentially nullified all the success that Harper did here in Canada. Right? We weathered the Great Recession because of Harper. Everybody knows it. And if they don't know it, they're lying to themselves. We weathered the Great Recession that Obama manufactured, like Trudeau is manufacturing now, at a smaller scale. Give these people the credit that they deserve. They have love for their country. It's plain to see. People will see it eventually. But to me, it's a hypocritical joke. Like, it's like the inverse. If you're a politician as dirty as Schiff, it seems all you need to gain success is you have to be cunning and a very, very good liar. It's a joke. I think it's impossible to legislate for that kind of situation, but it is the responsibility of people surrounding those people to make the proper judgment in that moment and make sure to shut them down, because there is no other way. The responsibility of the citizens themselves and to discern the moral right or wrong, that's up to them. It's there's a lot of talking about the four founders that legislate the Constitution beautifully to prevent this kind of unbalance of power, and it proved them wise. But I think they anticipated something like this would happen in the future, and that's why they've structured the Constitution that way in the United States. Here in Canada, I'm sad to say there is a great unbalance of power. It's not balanced. It isn't. There should be some kind of accountability for Trudeau already. And partisan or not, I feel the Liberal Party is to blame a great deal, because he's gained so much power, and it's breaching the constitutional rights and freedoms of all Canadian citizens. And I don't care what anybody said, that's the truth. So I believe Donald Trump will be acquitted, and I hope he is. He's committed no crime, but I wonder what kind of backlash Schiff and Pelosi will face. I wonder. How can you hold those people accountable? They're not just anybody. These are elected members, and even elected members need to be shown respect, even if they behave in the most irresponsible and corrupt way. The key is how to hold them accountable, and I think the elections might be the only way. So, but I do hope that investigation happens with Joe Biden, with Pelosi, with Schiff, because that kind of corruption, who knows their motivations? Could be money, could be power hungry, could be many things. But I hope that people see the intent behind Trump, that he really was trying to make America great again. That was his message. But if it was nonsense, if it was a lie, then people wouldn't have bought into it, and people wouldn't see now how it came true. Essentially, look at America statistics if you want. America's doing great. There's no question about it. Trump managed to nullify a lot of the nonsense that Obama did during his years, his time as president, and he did a lot of damage to the United States. Obama did a lot of damage to the United States. Under his reign, the Americans groaned. I was there. There was mass opportunity to buy houses, to buy all kind of American property for cheap. Nobody wants to live in the States, really. So I hope President Trump is acquitted of all charges. There cannot be any other way that I see it ending. And I hope that you've enjoyed this video, and take good care. Bye-bye.